Hey everyone, welcome to the live stream. We're here. I'm Alfred.
Submarine.
Sorry for the delay. Right now we're based in Miami Beach and it's spring break, so there's a lot of college students here. Traffic is horrendous. So Rodolfo was in his car at the time, but now he's home.
Safe and
So
sound.
all's good. Good Wi-Fi and everything. Yeah. So briefly go over what we're going to do in this episode. It's episode 116. We're going to be interviewing the CEO and co-founder of Matrix Labs,
Yay.
us. And then we're going to go over some announcements at the end. So I'll briefly go over like Rodolfo's bio. So he's the co-founder and CEO of both AdMobilize and Matrix Labs. He was born in Brazil, and at age 17, he immigrated to the U.S. to attend Cornell in New York. He's a serial entrepreneur, productizing and building like complex technologies. Him and his brother won on ABC's Shark Tank back in the first season with an AI-based My Therapy journal website. Prior to breaking loose from the corporate world, he led a disruptive innovations at the Breakers. Then he obtained his MBA and was a stockbroker at Morgan Stanley. Rodolfo, he speaks like 4 languages, has visited 27% of the countries in the world, an avid athlete, loves the potentials of human beings to create the impossible, and he's overall an amazing guy. So yeah, with that, without further ado, here's Rodolfo.
Hello.
Hi, Rodolfo.
Hey, how are you doing?
Hey, Alfred Submarine, how are you?
Good.
Great. How was that traffic?
Oh, baby, that was tough. You know, I was using Waze to get from my meeting back to the office, but because of spring break, what would have taken me 15 minutes was showing almost 90 minutes.
No, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So then I had to change paths and come to a place where I have good Wi-Fi. But it's great to see you.
Yeah.
Great. to see you.
You're still in the beach. It's gonna take you some time to leave.
Well,
Oh,
I live 5 minutes away, so I'm good.
I know. But it's awesome to be with you. Obviously, I mean, we were together this morning there,
Yeah.
and just the rest of the community watching this video now or a little bit later.
Yeah. So I guess we'll go into it. So before jumping into like Matrix Labs, why don't you tell us a little bit about your like entrepreneurial journey? Like what led you to start like 2 multinational tech companies headquartered in Miami of all places, and not somewhere like Silicon Valley?
Yeah, sure. So I think entrepreneurship is a non-linear endeavor, right? You can learn a lot by obviously experience, mentors. There's some fantastic books and even podcasts around the world. But at the end of the day, you have to follow your inner voice on what it is that you think you want to create. Then, what is the market that you're going after? Is it a big market? What's going to be the time for your product to have a product market fit? Can you put together an incredible team? So for me, on a personal note, is I always needed to create things, and it's usually things that didn't exist before. And I know that my wife, for instance, she tells me, like, why do you complicate things so much?
Because it's fun.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of a joke in our home. So for me is how do we create things that can add massive value to as many people as possible? And I think the concept of freedom and democratization of technologies is something that is kind of very close to heart for me. I think there's so many limitations in the world today, and is it because of where you're from, or what language you were born with, or how you look, or whatever life you want to lead? And what we've tried to do is kind of remove those barriers, with some of the things that we do. So I always joke, with the team that that movie, Ratatouille, that talent can come from anywhere and from anyone.
Right.
And I love that, and I think there's some real truth to that. And obviously, as an entrepreneur, is amazingly rewarding when you have an idea you're able to convince investors to invest in the idea. You're able to put like some of the state-of-the-art teams together, and then can you together create something that people hopefully loves and adopts, and then from there just so from there I think there's no limitations there. So that's a bit for me. I did the corporate world for many years of my career. And sometimes you have good bosses, sometimes you have very bad bosses, sometimes people care about you, sometimes people don't care about you.
Yeah.
And, and I speak for pretty much, I would say the entire Matrix team is we don't want to just do the status quo. We want to push the envelope in terms of engineering, in terms of democratization of AI. So we like the challenge, we're a group of really interesting people, and we're co-creating these really interesting things.
Yeah, no, it's 100%, for sure. So then talking about Matrix Labs, like, tell us a little bit of how it came to be. I mean, I was there with from the beginning with you, but like, what circumstances inspired the idea for it, and what made it important enough to pursue?
Sure, yeah. Alfred was like, I think, team member number 3. Yeah, I think number 3. This is many, many years ago. We're talking over 4.5 years. Yeah. So I think Matrix Labs emerged from a need from one of our other products. So, we at Matrix Labs, it's a separate company within a parent company, right? So if you look at our parent company, it's called AdMobilize. And basically there is, we are enabling the physical world to have real metrics. So it's kind of like, I think of like a Google Analytics for the physical world. And, our first products there, it's called the AI sensor. So it's a little gadget. It has an 8 megapixel inside it. You plug it in, basically, and then starts taking 15 to 20 pictures or frames per second. And we do all of the computer vision mostly at the edge, so we can count how many people, the demographics, age, gender, and our big clients are there, like retailers and out-of-home digital signage. But what happened was, when we were creating the AI sensor, we had very limited budgets. It was the beginning of AdMobilize. And then we said, okay, so what we did was the AI sensor, basically we found the Raspberry Pi, and we created, the first iteration of the AI sensor was running actually on a Pi, which was incredible. It was, obviously, for AdMobilize, the secret sauce there is our AI stack running on very low processing power devices. But back in the beginning, it's like, man, we don't have that much money. We can't have the funding to create a board, to certify a board, to run the specs on a board, to run the prototype batches on a. We didn't have any of those fundings. So when we found the Raspberry Pi, it was like, wow, okay, I think now we can create a real company based on the Pi as a hardware. And then obviously AdMobilize, the secret sauce was on the AI and the software. But what happened at that point was usually I have some interesting ideas when I'm, 30,000 feet in the air. No, I don't pilot. I just go as a passenger. And, in one of those rides, I think I was flying to London. How about we put as many sensors as we can on our AI sensor, which was the AdMobilize product. But then something happened because we brought that back to the team, and we're like, oh yeah, there's something here. And we started talking, and we brought additional kind of superstar engineers to the team that had very detailed expertise in development of boards, and kind of grew from this world of kind of hardware development and some software development, some hardware abstraction layer development. And then something kind of just merged, and we said, man, I think we can create a board and a company that democratizes Internet of Things and enables AI to converge very easily. And that's when, the Matrix Creator Board kind of came to place. And the name was really interesting. I do believe we live in some type of a matrix. I do believe that humans
in a simulation.
What is it?
In the simulation.
Yeah, perhaps. I don't know. I'm not gonna go that deep, but I do think that, you know, us as humans, we have certain sensors in us. Some of them are dormant. I think we're missing some sensors. But if you study a little bit of quantum physics and just the entire spectrum of science, we are intermingled, right? There's a lot of that, and so that's why we named it matrix, the ability for everything to kind of interconnect. And then creator, because the concept of having a creator force, be it whatever it is, was appealing to us. So we called it obviously Matrix Creator, and that's how Matrix Labs was born. And then from there, you know, we had more funding, so we developed our Matrix Creator board. We put as many sensors as we could on it. We made it as affordable as we could. And then we started forging some incredible global partnerships. I think we had a couple successful Indiegogo campaigns. And then it just kind of just hit a vein, you know, was people trying to see, okay, how do we have everything in one? Does it enable some type of a software stack for it to enable these creations and prototypes and research projects and things to just emerge? And then at that point in the world,
To the bottom right.
Yeah, I was trying, but it like was messing up, so I didn't want to mess with it. I didn't realize.
it's all those spring breakers.
On the internet.
Did you start it again?
Yeah, I did.
Let me refresh over here.
There it is. I think it's starting up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, it's good.
Good?
We're back.
Okay, we're back.
Oh,
Sorry guys
so-
about that.
You can see me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, I tell you, you know, even when I was driving, my cell had almost no reception. It's just too many people on Instagram and, you know, and Snapchat.
Yeah.
All these
Yeah.
spring breakers just
Yeah.
not allowing us to do what we need to do, you know?
So annoying, spring breakers. We went to get lunch earlier, and there were just so many people.
Yeah,
Oh my
it's
god.
a bit crazy, but that's fine.
Okay, but we're good now. I don't think they missed anything.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. But I mean, to pick up where we left off, we were talking about a community and how like that was like a new idea, and then you were talking about how you started Matrix Labs and, you know, how you sort of came up with the idea, kind of just happened from the AI sensor, right? So, given like, you know, how have you seen kind of Matrix Labs grow, and then like how do you see it, or where do you see it in 10 years? Like where do you see it going?
Sure. So I think, you know, the evolution of Matrix Labs was grown from the community, because we had this idea. Obviously, we created a really powerful development board. We all know how tough it was to get all the certifications. Oh man, like Z-Wave, Zigbee.
Yeah.
I mean,
FCC,
you know, it's complex. Yeah. It's a really complex board. We got pretty lucky because we did a global partnership with Avnet, with Premier Farnell, and, you know, Element 14. It's all under one platform for them, which they also have pushed the product globally and giving access to a lot more people to buy it. A really kind of good prices, you know, tax reduction because you're buying within the country. Mm-hmm. So, and then what happens was when we started, you know, kind of shipping the first batches of Matrix Creator, then we started getting a lot of feedback from all the developers using it.
Right.
Professors, I mean, maker spaces, hardware developers, software developers, students, a lot of Raspberry Pi, you know, people that had already had Raspberry Pi. So suddenly we started getting all this feedback, and our own kind of community started growing, and then people started helping each other. You know, how do I do this? This is not working how I want to. And we started getting the feedback, and then the community started to grow. Mm-hmm. And then from there, we had this idea of creating a smaller form factor board than Matrix Creator. Matrix Creator is not that big either. It's about like this. And then we decided to do Matrix Voice, which is this. And Matrix Voice
it's actually
was
3.14 inches. Pi Day.
That's right.
Yesterday.
It's a Pi Day. We're 1 day late. But it was yeah. And what happens was we included 8 mics, 8 microphone array on it, a pretty large FPGA, our kind of Everloop, which is kind of our trademarked Everloop. And the idea was to enable developers playing, creating within voice recognition to utilize a embedded certified board and bring in any third-party, voice recognition stack. Although they can use Google, Google Voice, and they can use, Alexa and all Snips.ai, Minecraft.
Yeah.
And what happened there is that it hit a vein once again. And this vein was very specific to creating solutions and products and ideas and prototypes based on voice recognition, but without just, depending on the two big players, really, Google and Amazon.
Yeah.
They wanted flexibility, and they wanted to have multiple language support, and they wanted to be able to, at times, run everything at the edge, which Matrix Voice enables. And that has been kind of the evolution of, Matrix Labs in terms of the development hardware boards. And then on top of that, we have built some software ourselves, which makes it really easy to start tinkering and creating within the boards, which are obviously we just launched Matrix Lite, which really continues democratizing how easy it is to create things on the platform. And so that's really rewarding. We love when we see projects from the community on things that are created. And it's really interesting, right? So I think that has hit a few points. One is enabling us to lower the barriers to entry, to have hardware, and then embed intelligent systems, AI, on these boards. So obviously that has resonated immensely with the college students, right? The computer science students, the mechanical engineer students, because usually they have a bit more advanced engineering. So when they get the Matrix Creator and Voice, it's just really, really intuitive for them to create. Although we're getting a lot more high school students and some really bright middle school students using it as well, because they want to have an advantage. So when they get to college, or as they're applying to college, they're like, oh, we now can code and we can create things on the Matrix Labs platform. So that's really interesting. And then the other one that we're getting really surprised upon is small businesses and some entrepreneurs that they are like, okay, we don't have $2 million to develop a board, the engineering, the team, the certification, the branding, and we don't have all this time either. We need to create kind of real products and prototypes extremely fast and take them to market, right? So we're finding a lot of those kind of small business also creating on top of it. Because what happens is this, right? If you want to do a product and let's say have 10,000 units shipped, or 15,000 units shipped, for you to create that board, you'll be extremely expensive and time consuming to do those small batches. I think anything under maybe 50,000 units, it's super expensive to make it happen. So what our, the creator and the voice are enabling those products to be created much faster, much less expensive, and they can go to market with a lot of velocity. If it's anything, over 50,000 units, then it might make more sense for you to do an OEM and do a custom board because your price per unit will be lower.
Right.
But how many people actually have orders of 50,000 units for their products? Not that many. So what our platform is really doing is leveling the playing field for people to create, to launch products, launch businesses. Just like in the beginning, remember I was telling about Mobilize, what we did with the AI sensor, and what really enabled that to happen from a hardware standpoint, it was the Raspberry Pi.
Right.
So we're doing the same now with Matrix Voice and Creator. And where's, we're going back to your question, Samreen, where's Matrix Labs going to be in 10 years? I think we're going to have more products, obviously a much larger community. And one of the ideas that we have there is that is kind of a franchise model. So let's say I am a developer with my team, and we develop some type of voice recognition product, let's say to help the elderly. Remember those things that people wear, this like help me, they press a button and then, but somebody could look at Matrix Voice and say, wow, let's create a elderly kind of help system based on Matrix Voice. Mm-hmm. They can get the 3D file systems from our website. They can print it. They use the Matrix Voice. They use some of our Matrix kind of OS. They put a product together and they can start shipping thousands. But what they did by doing that is solving a huge problem, reducing the time to market, reducing the price of these boards. So their boards might not be the cheapest to make if they were to make it themselves, but that only works if you have, thousands and thousands and thousands in volume.
Yeah.
So I think the future is there's a lot more thinking there for us. And we have some other products on the roadmap. And we believe in this of making hardware as easy as, hardware products and solutions as easy as it is to create, let's say, websites. So that's a little bit the future of Matrix Labs. We might have, kind of clubs for Matrix Labs. I mean, there's all these different things, but I'm not going to give it all away today.
Good.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, no, I mean, you touched on a lot of things there. The whole idea of Matrix Labs, it's super inspiring. Just making it easier for anybody to create with hardware, like program it simply, create a product easily, not having to have all this capital and spend all the time that it takes to make it. So unlike the inspiration note, you're always inspiring us. Do you have any words of wisdom for the community and just the Matrix platform users?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a big proponent of following your dreams and not really listening to most people, right? The truth is that most people are naysayers, and I don't blame them, like their upbringing, life might have hit them once or twice and they just throw the towel, or the school system might not inspire them so much. There's all these different things, but I don't want to go too deep on that either. That's for another time. But so I think the beauty of our little culture within Matrix Labs and the larger community of Matrix, people using Matrix Creator, but then also if you even go more macro, the hardware developer community, it's a really friendly group, man. Mm-hmm. Something that has surprised me even. So this bubble is actually bigger than just ours, which is amazing. And the inspiration is there's so many tools in the world today, and those tools' ability is higher than it has ever been.
Oh, could you rewind that for a second? Your video cut out there.
Yeah, sure. So can you hear me okay again?
Yeah.
Cool. So I think the idea there is that there's so many tools today, much more accessibility of these tools, and you're able to experiment so much more. So my thing is, you don't need sometimes, a parent to buy you, like, I don't know, a Matrix Voice. Man, go work at I don't know, at McDonald's. Work 5 days, make a little money on the side. Go
sell
buy
chocolate.
Yeah, or any
Girl Scout cookies.
Girl Scout cookies, yeah.
Yeah, just make a little money. Go buy a little piece of technology. There's so much available data, classes you can take online, documentation that we're getting to a point in civilization. Obviously, there's some countries that have a lot more options than others, but hopefully that changes. But you can access these things, be creative, and then start experimenting. I think a lot of times is people are scared to fail. And I think, for instance, right now, we have a 10-month-old boy, my son Liam, right? And we let him touch everything. He falls, he gets up. So it's all, and what happens is, as we're growing up, parents, society, whatever, you start putting fear in people. Don't do that because you're going to get hurt. Don't do this because you're not supposed to do it.
Yeah.
And then it ingrains in people. So then you stop taking risks. You don't start taking risks. So my message, I think, for anyone, could be parents watching this, business people watching this, creators watching this, our own team watching this, is find a wonderful group of people, start experimenting, hopefully is challenging and exciting enough for you, and then go create something. You know, like for instance, one of the things that is the most rewarding is that, you know, our Matrix products have shipped to over 70 countries. That's amazing. Like a 2-ounce board, or I think Matrix Voice is even lighter than 2 ounces, has shipped to 70 countries from every age, every range of expertise. We have people doing robots with these products. We have people measuring astronauts' emotions with this product. You have researchers I mean, it's such a plethora of things that are being created. And obviously, when we find out about them, it's super rewarding. So, you know, for everyone that is using our platform, send us your projects. We'll feature you. Would love to hear from you. Go on our community, which is on matrix.one. Actually, it's community.matrix.one. And not only us, but utilize all these other tools that exist in the world for you to experiment and create and hopefully find what your calling is, and then follow that, because then that life becomes so much more fun. Yeah, so that's a little bit of what's on my mind all the time.
Inspirational message.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, no, it's great, and I mean that rings true for me. That's one of the reasons why I'm here. The team is amazing. We're doing crazy things every day, taking risks, having fun, and I mean it's working. So
yeah, you know. So
we keep at it.
Any other questions?
No. The last question would be if you have anything else to say.
I think there is, you know, just we joke in the team all the time. Just keep pushing, keep following your passion, and thank you for this interview.
No, thank you, thank you for everything.
Oh no, for sure, we're doing it. Thank you so much, everybody.
Okay,
bye.
Thanks, Rodolfo.
Bye.
Ciao, bye.
Stop this.
Cool.
Bye.
Awesome. Oh, you're seeing us twice.
Okay. Cool. I guess we can go back.
Yeah, let's go back to our faces. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, that was great. So I guess you guys got a little taste of Rodolfo and his amazing self. I mean, I've been with Matrix Labs, knowing him for almost 5 years now, and Rodolfo is just always inspiring. He's always super great to be around. And he comes up with these amazing ideas, like Matrix Labs, like when he was saying he came up with the idea of having all the sensors and like what became the crater on a plane. And I'm like, I mean, it's a creative thing to come up with on a plane.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
And where it's come now, it's just amazing. So I guess we didn't ask anybody if they had questions. I don't think anyone does. I mean, if you guys have any questions on the live chat, feel free to type them in. I could probably answer a couple of them, but if anything, we could message Rodolfo real quick and he can answer them. Besides that, do we have any announcements?
Announcements wise, like I just kind of wanted to, in the spirit of showing projects, there was somebody who just on Twitter posted a project, so I just want to show everybody that. I also just realized that only like part of the screen like is showing on the live stream, which makes me kind of sad for not noticing that earlier.
Oh, that's
but
weird.
It's okay. No, it's because this monitor is a different size than that monitor, I think. Which I just didn't notice. But anyway, so somebody made a smart extension relay with Alexa voice services powered by Matrix Creator, Raspberry Pi, and the Arduino. I haven't looked at this video yet, but I'm excited to watch it.
Okay, let's watch it live with everybody.
Oh my god. This looks like
Oh
a
my
really cool
God.
setup. So.
I have that relay. That's the relay we used for the light switch. Where's the internet? And my computer ran out of power.
Haha, fun.
Oh wow. Good thing the computer we use for the live stream is plugged in.
Alright, let's see. Home automation using Matrix Creator running Alexa voice services. It just like looks really cool.
I think our live stream is taking up all the internet.
That's true.
Well, I don't know how, but
this video doesn't load.
Alexa,
oh.
Trigger turn on the light.
Sending that to IFT.
Ooh.
Alexa, trigger turn off the light.
Sending that to IFT.
oh, now they have to put Alexa on the creator.
Alexa, trigger turn on the light.
I don't think it heard him that time.
Yeah. Oh, never mind.
Oh wait, I think that was on the creator. Yeah, that's on the.
Trigger turn off the light.
Oh, so he showed it with Alexa and then.
And then
Alexa?
with the with Alexa running, and then he muted Alexa, cut it perfectly. We didn't even realize. And then
Alexa,
has Alexa running on the creator.
trigger charge my phone.
Oh, it's a phone. Something's gonna happen to the phone. So there's a little bit of a lag. Ooh.
Oh. Cool.
Sending that to IFT.
Huh. I think
Alexa,
he's gonna make the fan run too.
Trigger turn on the fan.
Haha.
Oh wow, you're psychic.
Whoa!
Oh, that is
Sending that to
cool.
IFT.
So fun.
Alexa, what's the weather today?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a
Currently,
delay.
in Chennai,
Yeah.
Tamil Nadu,
Super
it's 27 degrees Celsius with partly cloudy skies.
Oh, I love
You
That
can
is very
expect more
cool.
of the same tonight, with a low of 23 degrees.
That's
Cool.
wonderful. Well, that was really nice.
That's
Glad
awesome.
we watched that. So yeah, if you want to post projects, you can always post it straight up on social media, and we'll definitely retweet you because we love seeing projects. And also you can post on our community at community.matrix.one.
Yeah, I'll switch to the video.
Yeah, at community.matrix.one. There's a projects tab where you can post your projects. You can also post on Hackster if you really want, and we'd feature that on Hackster too.
Yeah.
So lots of places where you can share your ideas. So
And we love seeing them.
that's super fun. Yeah.
Cool. Besides that, anything else? We're still working on the Snips contest with Hackster, in progress. It's scheduled to start sometime in May. So that's a little more information now.
There's a live stream with Element 14 at some point in April.
Yes,
Yeah,
when
April 3rd.
April 3rd. Yeah,
Yeah.
so Element 14 presents. For present. What is it? Element 14 presents?
Or Project 14.
Project
I
14.
did the same thing.
Yeah, Element 14 has a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're actually going to be doing a live stream with them. So they're starting a new live stream series, and we're going to be on their first live stream. So stay tuned for that. We'll be putting notifications of that on Twitter, so you guys can find out. Follow us on Twitter at @matrix_creator. And besides that, I think that's about it.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome.
right.
Well, thank you guys for joining the stream. Sorry it started a little late. Again, Miami Beach, spring break. It's pretty crazy here.
Yeah, everybody likes coming here. It's nice and warm.
Yeah, it is. And I just want to escape. Be in the cold. It's nice. Yeah, although I guess it's better than a blizzard.
Yeah.
But okay. Thank you guys. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.